Some companies are working to make sure employee requests for religious exemptions to avoid getting the COVID-19 vaccine are legitimate. That's according to the Wall Street Journal. The paper also reports that some businesses are even making employees fill out questionnaires about how they apply their religious beliefs to other parts of their lives. So earlier on CBSN AM, I spoke to Wall Street Journal reporter Chip Cutter about what sort of questions companies are asking workers about their religion, and if they're also asking them about other health decisions that they've made based on their faith.
Companies are sort of asking all kinds of questions on this. Some of the basics are, how long have you had your faith? How long have you practiced it? Companies are also asking, for example, have you taken any other vaccines in the past? Have you gotten the flu shot? And what companies are trying to determine here is sort of how sincerely held someone's religious beliefs might be. But you see companies taking a whole sort of range of approaches, and some are much more in depth than others. GE, for example, is asking workers, for example, whether their religious beliefs would prevent them from wearing safety goggles or steel-toed boots, other sort of safety equipment on the job. GE and other organizations like Amtrak are also asking workers if they've taken medicines like Tums or Tylenol in the past. Questions on these forms note, for example, that some of these common over-the-counter medicines that are sort of purported to be developed using fetal cell lines. So if people have sort of concerns for that reason, it asks if people have taken common over-the-counter medications. And so then you also have some companies that take a really simple approach. Tyson Foods, for example, which has a vaccine mandate in place for its workers, has a pretty kind of easy to follow, just a couple of questions for workers to fill out there if they want a religious exemption. So like so much of COVID, really the way companies are approaching this varies widely.
So we should sort of make it clear that there are very few established faiths that actually prohibit the COVID-19 vaccination. But you brought up something, I think, that we have heard people talk about, which is this idea that the vaccine's development was based on the cells of aborted fetuses. And it's very misleading, this assertion, to the point of being false, that we are talking about sort of a DNA line from decades and decades and decades ago. So I want to ask you sort of twofold. Could you actually clarify that for us, this fetal cell issue? And even though it's not really legitimate, the assertion that there's a direct connection to aborted fetuses, is this still something that is considered a legitimate objection by some companies?
It's oftentimes not by many companies, and you're absolutely right there. We need to clear that up. That is not part of the development of the COVID-19 vaccine. And some of the manufacturers of these products, like Tylenol, for example, have told us that, of course, their products don't contain, these sort of cell lines. And so that's a question that companies are asking because they're trying to sort of probe people's beliefs, and they're trying to sort of get a sense for why they're objecting to the vaccines. Many employment lawyers have told us that sort of the way companies ask these questions can kind of give a signal into sort of how they're thinking about exemptions overall. Many companies, of course, want people to get the vaccine because they want to keep their workforces safe. They feel that sort of vaccinating all of their employees is the best path to kind of keeping COVID out of the workplace. And that's why many are taking sort of a harder line on this, and they don't want to just grant every exemption that's asked for. Other companies are different. Southwest Airlines, for example, and others have said that they will kind of grant religious exemptions to most who ask for it. And we've seen a number of universities, for example, do this as well when they've rolled out vaccine policies. So it can sort of vary how this is implemented.
Mm-hmm. That being said, though, the companies are asking some pretty personal questions of faith and questions of health. These are things that are typically reserved for, an employee's personal life and not their work life. So how are companies taking privacy issues into account when they ask employees about their beliefs?
Yeah. They want to be careful about it because many of these questions are the type that a company wouldn't normally ask employees. It'd be kind of odd, for example, if your boss asked you, how long have you practiced your faith, or tell me more about your faith, or put me in touch with your spiritual leader, which is a request that many companies are asking for those who kind of seek out these religious accommodations. Wow. That said, this is something where companies feel like they need to ask these personal questions because they want to get a sense for sort of where someone is coming from on this. And so companies are within their rights to sort of ask some of these questions that the government has given companies guidance on how to do this. And that's why companies sort of feel comfortable with these forms that are out there. At the same time, they want to keep sort of the information limited. They're not necessarily sharing it with lots of people, and they're wanting to take privacy concerns into account from that standpoint. So it's sensitive. This is tricky. Companies are trying to sort of get this right. And I think what many companies are trying to do here is to make it sort of hard to get an accommodation. They want most of their workforce to get vaccinated.
So how are companies then going about enforcing vaccination compliance with the federal mandate for companies that are federal contractors? And I wonder just, what are they doing if they find that an employee lied on a questionnaire? Like if you get in contact with the faith leader and Father John says, well, I haven't seen him since, I don't know, Ash Wednesday, then what do you do with information like that?
Yeah, well, I think it sort of goes without saying that lying on any kind of company form generally isn't a good idea. And companies have said that, that it could lead to termination, that they sort of expect employees to tell the truth. But employment lawyers have told me that they've seen some cases like this, where people have sought out forms from faiths overseas, for example, where you can sort of buy these forms that would sort of say, hey, my faith says I can't take this vaccine. You can give that to your employer. We've seen there are a number of YouTube videos out there that sort of give people guidance for sort of how to answer these questions to try to get, with hopes of sort of getting an exemption. But so I think, lying on a form, though, isn't a good idea, could cause some issues for employees. And it's also worth noting that a number of companies have terminated those who have been unwilling to kind of comply with a vaccine mandate. Of course, some have issued religious exemptions, but we've seen examples at Houston Methodist Hospital and others where people who just didn't comply with the vaccine mandate were ultimately let go.
That's very true, and we've seen, people attempt to take that to court, and it doesn't work out so well for them. Just out of curiosity, how often are religious accommodation requests approved?
So most of them are approved. It sort of depends on the company. There are. I asked Ohio State University, for example, which has a sort of campus-wide vaccine mandate for employees and students. And a spokesman for the university told me that sort of the vast majority of religious requests were approved. There were some paperwork issues, but people could sort of refile. I think that's kind of the norm. And we've seen other companies say that they sort of come at this thinking that most employees are being sincere, but they want to make sure they separate those who have a genuine religious objection versus someone who just doesn't want to get the shot.
We do interviews like the one with Chip Cutter Monday through Friday on CBSN AM. The team and I get caught up on all the news that you need to start your day at 7 Eastern right here on CBSN. And if you want to stream it some other time, you can do that too. You can also find the show on our streaming service, Paramount Plus.